Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a really fascinating Supreme Court judgment from April 2025. It finally wraps up this legal battle over a cinema building that's been going on for, well, decades.
Absolutely. And our mission here is to pull out the key insights. We're looking specifically at bona fide need, that's the landlord's genuine requirement for the property, and also comparative hardship.
Right, how the courts sort of weigh the impact on everyone involved.
Exactly. It's amazing to see these legal ideas applied, in a real situation, especially one stretching out so long. It's more than just a case. It's a real shortcut to understanding property rights in action.
Totally agree. Okay, so the story kicks off, believe it or not, back in 1952. A cinema building gets leased out.
For just 10 years initially.
Yeah, just 10. Then, 1962, the property is bought by Murlidhar Aggarwal, who's the predecessor of the appellant in this final case.
Okay.
Now, here's the kicker. That 10-year lease expires in 62, but the tenant just stays for another 63 years.
63 years after the lease ended.
63 years? It's incredible. The first eviction attempt wasn't even filed until 1975. So you can imagine the legal journey.
Wow. Decades. And the core argument was this bona fide need, right, from Murlidhar Aggarwal.
That was his angle, yeah.
He argued basically he had no separate business, very little income, and I think the term used was wealth in the negative.
Yeah, liabilities outweighed assets. Pretty stark.
And the first court, the prescribed authority, actually agreed with him. Found the need was genuine, gave elaborate reasons, the Supreme Court noted later.
So they bought his argument initially.
They did. And the Supreme Court ultimately backed that initial finding.
Yeah.
It also highlights how broadly bona fide need can be interpreted. It covers family members' needs, too, not just the landlord's personal one.
Okay, but it wasn't smooth sailing. Didn't an appellate authority overturn that first decision?
Yes. That's the twist. The appellate authority reversed it. But the Supreme Court, looking back, called that reversal wholly unsustainable.
Unsustainable? Why?
Because basically it lacked convincing reasons. It just didn't hold up against the original detailed judgment.
Got it. And the need itself changed over time, didn't it? Because Murlidhar Aggarwal passed away during the proceedings.
Correct. While the case was stuck in the High Court for a long time, he passed away. But his son, Atul Kumar Aggarwal, stepped in.
And he continued the case based on his own need. Is that allowed?
Yes, and that's crucial. The court specifically noted the son's circumstances. He was crippled, had no other source of income or any other business, and importantly, no other commercial property.
So his situation was quite dire.
It seems so. And the law actually anticipates this. Section 21(7) of the relevant act, the 1972 Rent Control Act, allows legal heirs to continue the case based on their own subsequent need. It substitutes their need for the original one.
That makes sense. Keeps things relevant. Okay, let's shift to comparative hardship. The tenant must have pushed back hard.
Oh, absolutely. They argued the landlord or the family had other businesses. They pointed to Rule 16(2)(c) of the rent control rules, suggesting this meant less hardship for the landlord.
Trying to show the landlord didn't really need this specific property as much.
Precisely. But the Supreme Court looked at it and, well, it didn't find those claims swayed the balance much. They concluded that financially the parties were, at best, equally poised.
Equally poised, even with the landlord needing income and the tenant running a business there.
Apparently so, in the court's final analysis of their overall financial standing. And here's maybe the most surprising part: the length of the tenancy. Rule 16(2)(a) usually suggests a very long tenancy weighs against eviction.
Right, and 73 years total is incredibly long.
It is, but the court said that factor wasn't decisive here.
Why not? That seems like the tenant's strongest point.
Because, and this is key, the court pointed out that during all those decades of litigation, the tenant made no attempt to seek an alternative accommodation.
So while they were fighting the eviction for years and years, they never looked for somewhere else to move the cinema.
That's what the judgment indicates.
Yeah.
And the court felt that inaction, that lack of effort to find an alternative over such a long period, effectively neutralizes the factor of length of tenancy.
So the duration argument lost its power because of the tenant's inaction? That's a really interesting nuance.
It really is. It shows that tenants also have some responsibility to mitigate their own potential hardship during long disputes.
And that led to the final verdict.
Yes. The Supreme Court allowed the landlord's appeal, overturned the lower courts that had gone against the landlord.
And the outcome for the tenant.
They were given time to vacate until December 31st, 2025, to leave the cinema premises. End of an era, really.
Absolutely. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you? This deep dive really shows how courts try to balance things, doesn't it? Property rights versus someone being somewhere for a very, very long time.
Definitely. It underlines that bona fide need isn't static. It can evolve with family changes. And crucially, how long you've been a tenant isn't an automatic win. Your actions or inactions during a dispute matter immensely.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? In our world, where property situations are always changing, how do we make sure legal systems can deliver fairness that adapts, especially when these fights stretch across generations? Something to ponder.